Hello, welcome to this video on solid edge modelling. So here we're looking at some basic stroke intermediate level modelling. So first thing we need to do is change to ordered mode. So right click, transition to ordered, and then we're going to choose extrude command for our first command. If our base reference planes aren't on, we can click the little symbol over above the ordered bar on there and then choose that front plane on there. For the first feature, I'm going to choose my circle by center point. I'm going to input 34 and enter. If we've got our setting on here for auto dimension, these will turn on automatically. It will place a dimension automatically. We also want our relationship colours on. If that's not on, go and turn that on. So if we click to place and then click the green tick, or on 23 it's kind of like a bluey one, and then we're going to extrude that. We're going to just type 250 and enter. Make sure we're going away from us and just do a left click to go and confirm that on there. At this point it's probably a good time to save this, so we can just do a Control S. So if we go to save this as vacuum nozzle, we're going to create a 3D printable vacuum nozzle on here. Okay, our next step is we're going to choose the extrude command again. I'm going to turn on these base reference planes just to make life a little bit easier, and I'm going to choose that plane, and then I'm going to zoom out and back in towards the top, and I'm going to create a line that's going at a slight angle, and then I'm going to tap the A key and turn that into an arc on there. So that's going to give us like our nozzle profile. I want it to be kind of like tapering down on there. And then we're going to use smart dimension for our first dimension. So we're going to set this radius to 50. And then we're going to use smart dimension again. And we're going to create a dimension between the x-axis there and that line. And we're going to set that to, let's go 45 actually, a little bit less on there. Next we're going to use distance between, because we're going to be using the midpoint on here. So I'm going to create a dimension between the midpoint and there. This end's going to be 7. And then on here I'm going to choose that point and this plane. And this one's going to be 8.5. Our profile should go black because it's now fully constrained on there. We can then close the sketch. Choose the direction. It's an open profile, so we're given a direction step. So we do this with our mouse on the screen. We just say I want to go that way. We've got our automatic add cut, so that's not too much of a problem. And then it's deciding which way I want to go. Finite is default, but if I go through next and click on the yellow dot, that's going to go through next in both directions. I can then right click and finish, and I can press cancel, or I could press escape to cancel that. Next I'm going to mirror that feature, so choose a mirror command, click on the feature, right click to accept, and then choose that right plane on there which we've shown. Right click to finish, and the command doesn't stay active on this one. Okay, do a quick Control S to save that. Next we're going to go to the round command, and we're going to go to our options, and for this one we're going to do what we call a variable radius round. We're going to make sure this is set to chain on here, and then we're going to choose that chain of elements, accept, and then it's going to ask what points we want to go and set the radius at. So we're going to go and set these 4 locations on here. So just left click on those locations. To start off with, I'm going to set the radius as 7. And then we could do each one and set the radius, but I really like to set them all to 7 and then go to preview, and at this point we can go and make the changes that we want. So this 8.5 needs to be on there. We could make some clever parametric and link that 7 to the dimension in the previous step if we needed as well, but for this we're going to leave it as it is. We'll have a look at making this parametric in another video. Okay, so now we've done that, I'm going to take that round. I'm going to choose mirror and choose that same plane, and that's going to take that across. We probably could have done those at the same, but it's kind of nice just to practice the mirror command a couple of times on there. Okay, so next we're going to thin wall this. So thin wall is similar to shell command available in other CAD systems. So over here we're going to set our common thickness to 2.25, select open faces, and then we're going to choose the 2 open faces on there, right click a couple of times, and that's going to finish and close that command. So getting used to right clicking is very imperative in Solid Edge to get good modelling on there. Okay, so next we're going to put a cutout on the end on here. Okay, so if we choose the extrude command and choose that plane on there, zoom out and back in on the end. We're going to start the line command, but I want this to be an arc, so if we just tap the A key, that's going to give us an arc. We can choose 2 points and then a middle one. Press escape to come out of there, and then go to smart dimension, click on the line. We're going to set that radius as 80, yeah, that'll do. And then we'll do our distance between there and there, and we're going to set that to 25. That's going to give us the profile that we need on there. Okay, once we've done that, we can close that sketch. Choose the direction, we're going to go outside, and then if we do the old yellow dot trick again, that's going to finish that one for us nicely on there. Next, we want like a little slot, little kind of air hole, so we don't end up with like a suction issue on here. We've got a curve which stops it, but it's quite nice if we have that on there as well. So for this, we're going to choose extrude again. We're going to choose this right plane that we've been using before. Let's zoom out and zoom in and back out and go towards the end. I want a line kind of starting from the end point on here, going in here. So we can go and change this, and this will determine our length of this slot. So I'm going to constrain this up, choosing that, and then constrain that line. Sometimes it's a good idea, like I want to constrain that to the midpoint, it's already on the midpoint. So if I drag that and then use connect, choose the midpoint of the line, that's going to constrain that up. Now we can just do a single dimension on there, say 35 mil, and that's going to give us our slot. But we're doing this as a cutout, so what we're going to use is symmetric offset. Go to our settings, select our width as 4, and make sure we change this from line to arc offset on here, and then choose that line and accept on there. If you need to edit this, you just click back on that and then go back to your symmetric options on there, and that will take you into an edit on there. We don't get dimensions that we can see. We have to click on the profile to edit that. Notice the construction line we've created in the middle has changed from a visible normal drawn line to a construction line on there. We can then close that sketch, and we can determine what we're going to do. So sometimes we've got this add cut automatic, doesn't like it. So if we do get a yellow error, just come up here and say, well, I want to cut. Solid wasn't sure what we wanted, so it was giving us a bit of a question saying, what do we want to do on there? Next, we're going to do some rounding. So first, we're going to choose edge corner, and we're going to do 2 mil, and we're just going to select these 2 corners on here. And then next, we've got all sorts of different kind of options. So for this, we're going to do some 1 mil, because we've got 2.25 thickness. And then we can do different kind of settings on here, so loop, but I kind of find we could do edge corner, and we could literally just fence select all of those, and that's going to get all of those, and then we right click, preview and finish, or we could have selected face and done all those on there. Whenever you do something like that, just have a look at the command that you've done, and just have a look, see if there's an arrow next to it saying that it hasn't been able to create some of those. So that one works quite nicely in this instance on there. Okay, next we need to put a little kind of cutout profile on this end. It's probably a good point for us to go and save this. Let's do a quick Control S to save this. And then we're going to go to our Revolve command, and we're going to select that plane. Your view might be like this, it might be like that, it doesn't really matter. We're going to draw the profile on here anyway. Okay, so we're going to draw a little kind of profile, being very careful. So notice I've just done that, and that's just created a link to the internal surface on there. So I'm going to do it a little bit bigger, and then we're going to shrink this back up afterwards. Once we've drawn the profile, we can use Smart Dimension. Click on this line and tap A. That's going to give us our angle constraint. I want it to be 45 degrees. Next, I want to create a dimension from here to here, and that one's going to be 10. I want that line to be 5. And then the last one is this line to this outside edge. It's 2.25, so I want this to be about 1.5. And we should have a profile that looks something like that. When we do a revolve, at the top of the screen it says what we're doing. We need a axis of revolution, so that's got its own command here. In the latest couple of versions of Solid Edge, we can click that, and we can just click on the axis that we want, and that's going to go and use that axis. We can then close the sketch, and by default that's going to do a 360 cutout as soon as we determine which way we're going to go on there. We could go to our extent step and go and change the settings, but in this instance we don't need to, so we can just leave that and cancel that command on there. Time for a quick save. And then next, if we go over to turn off our base reference planes, we don't want those anymore. So we've got our part looking usable, but currently it's going to rotate, so we need a little kind of stopping location on here. So for this, we need like a surface of where it's going to go to, so it's going to stick out. I think it's about 4.5, 4.25. Yeah, I think it's all 0.25. So it's 2.25 and 4.25 for this. So we're going to create a surface 4.25 bigger than that one. So we're going to go to our surfacing tab and choose the offset command, choose that face and accept, and then our distance, type 4.25 in that box. Mine's already there because I've practiced this obviously, and then I'm just going to go on to there and then finish and cancel. Okay, so next if we turn that off just to make life a little bit easier, go back to our home tab at the top, and then we're going to sketch, and I'm going to kind of spin round and I'm going to sketch on the appropriate plane. One thing that's actually quite nice that we can do as well, if I go to my base reference planes and I know the plane that I want using the view cube as a reference, I can click on top and click on sketch, and that will do it for me as well. So rather than having to go and struggle finding the planes, go and find the plane over here, choose a plane what you want and choose what you want to do with that plane. So what we're going to do, we're going to start at the origin. We're going to create like a reference line. It's going to be 28mm. And now we've done that, we're going to create 3 circles. So we're going to go to our circle by center point. First one is going to be 40. And we're going to snap it to the end point, 33. Snap it to the end of that line, and 30. And snap it to the end of that line. Next we're going to go back to the line command. We're going to start at the end of the line, and we're going to take this up pretty much. Right click to cancel. Start another one from the same point and go up onto that line as well. Okay, next I want to do a horizontal vertical between the ends of those 2 lines, just so they're lined up on there. And then we're going to do a bit of trimming. We don't want half of this, we don't want those, we don't want those, and we don't want those. So we end up with just the arcs on there. We have lost a few relationships on here, so I'm going to use the connect command, and I choose the endpoint of that line, and then that line. Make sure we don't select an endpoint or a midpoint, just pick the line that's going to go and create a link between it. And it's going to do the same on the other side, and we've got our link on there. We don't need that many dimensions, we've still got these dimensions. I know they've moved into a weird position, so I'm just going to go and tidy those back up. I know it's not a draft drawing, but it's nice to have these nice and neat on there. And then I want a dimension on here of 4mm between there and there, coming out to the side. Pretty close anyway. There you go, and that's determining the angle that we've got on there. So we've got our profile. But this profile is 2 profiles in one. Currently I've got the outside profile, but for this smaller section I need 2 more lines. So we need to go to the line command, hover over the endpoint of this line, and then place it on there. Right click to cancel, and then the same on the other side. End of that line, hover over that line, and press E there. You could press E if you use the mice, midpoint, intersection, center point, endpoint as well. But for this one, I'm just going to hover over and choose that. Okay, so there we've got our profiles. We're in a sketch, so that can stay as a line. If we really want to say that is construction, we can click on that using the construction command, or we can just click on the line and just convert to construction using the little menu on there. So if we close that sketch and finish and do a quick save on there. Okay, so next we're going to go back to our surfacing tab and we're going to choose the project command. So if we click on that profile and that profile, and then accept, and this is going to go onto this surface, accept, and then left click with the arrow pointing upwards, and we've got our profile on that surface. Next we're going to go to project again. What we're going to do, we're going to turn this offset on during the command, and we're going to go and project those elements, accept, select surface steps, not showing, so let's turn that on, click on that surface, accept, and same with the arrow, point that upwards, and then finish on there. So next, if we go over to the left, turn off our offset and our sketch, so we can just see the profiles that we're working with. Just spin around with the mouse, we can see you can kind of see what we're creating now. We could possibly do this with a bit of a revolve as well, but I find we've got more control this way. So next we're going to go to our home tab, and we're going to go to our loft command, and we're going to do a very simple loft from there, and make sure we hover over the same point, so the green dotted line is going from one place to the other on there. It's not a complicated one. Preview, finish, and we're done on that one. Next we're going to turn off our 2 projections, a couple more commands to go. So next we're going to go to our drop down under thin wall, which has got our plastic part style tools, rib, web network, lip, vent, mounting boss, etc. I'm going to choose the rib command, and on this we're going to make sure we choose a parallel plane from the drop down. select the top base plane on there, and we're going to drag that up 20 mil, and then left click, because obviously you could go 20 mil up or 20 mil down. And then we're going to draw a line, 6 mil, that comes down here. Once we've done that, we're going to close our sketch, and we're going to make sure this direction is going down. We've got a few options on here. By changing this to no extent, it's going to allow us to do that. And we need to make sure our thickness is set to 1.5 on here. And then finish and cancel on there. So next we want to do a little bit of rounding. Just on this end, we've got the other end rounded nicely. So let's go into round. Let's go and put 0.3 on there. We want to do both of these features. So for those, we can just select features. Even that one can be done as a feature, but this we can't quite do that. So let's go and choose that one, and let's go and select that face on there. Right click to accept, preview, and then finish on there. We then got our part pretty much done. Let's go and add some material, and we can use this as a way of checking weight. So it should be 45 grams. So if we go to material, choose our ABS medium, it'll be black. I've gone and changed mine to grey, just so it looks the correct colour. When you do that, will probably prompt you to save your material table as well, but you can just click no on there, so it just does this version. Click apply to model, and then go to your inspect tab, and then properties, which is our physical properties, and this should then update, and it should give us a value of 45 grams on there. Okay, hopefully that's been useful, and you've learned some nice little tips. Next video, we'll have a look at making this nice and parametric, so we can make it bigger, smaller, narrower, etc. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.